Welcome to the Jefferson County video series for election workers and others who are interested in our elections. I'm Judge Alan King, and I serve as the Chief Election Official for Jefferson County. My instructional video will cover an overview of Jefferson County elections. Other video election team members and their topic in our series include Lieutenant George Ponder from the Sheriff's Department, who will discuss the return of election materials, David Sawyer, Deputy Clerk to Circuit Clerk Anne Marie Adams, who will cover the absentee election process, Alexandria Stevens, our elections coordinator, who will talk about payroll vouchers and ballot accounting certificates, and Barry Stevenson, Chair of the Board of Registrars, who will cover provisional voting. This video series is meant to supplement the election worker training process and is not meant as a replacement for our more in-depth election worker school, of which we have 5, which are taught prior to each election at the Birmingham Courthouse in the Jury Assembly Room, at the Bessemer Courthouse in the Jury Assembly Room, and in Gardendale, Centerpoint, and Homewood. Prior to each election cycle, for both the primary and the general election, our Jefferson County election team, which also includes representatives from the County General Services Department, begins meeting approximately 4 months before an election to plan our election and make certain that all of us are up to date on election law changes and on conducting the election. We have the largest county in the state of Alabama, and with having 173 voting precincts, a great deal of advanced planning is necessary. For our election workers, we have an election manual that we update for each election cycle. I would suggest that all chief inspectors and election workers read and acquaint yourselves with this manual prior to election day. It has information on setting up and using our DS200 election machines, on setting up and using the AutoMark disability voting machines, and on opening and closing the voting precinct. Election workers should report to their precinct by 6:15 a.m. on election day. Please turn on all voting machines, including the AutoMark, and please use all machines throughout the day. Beginning with the primary in 2014, Alabama requires a photo identification to vote. There is signage in the precinct supplies that lists the 7 forms of voter photo ID. Please place the signage in a prominent location in the precinct. Also, there is signage in the voting supplies that needs to be displayed on the walls in the precinct. Be sure to treat all candidates and political parties fairly and with equal importance in placing sample ballots on the walls. Poll watchers are allowed in the voting precincts on election day. In a primary, candidates appoint poll watchers, and in a general election, poll watchers are appointed by the political party. At 7 p.m., when voting concludes, it is mandatory that the thumb drives from each machine be removed and that all voted ballots be removed from each machine. Along with the other election materials, the thumb drives and voted ballots must be returned to one of the 5 return locations as soon as possible on election night. If all thumb drives and voted ballots are not returned, the election worker who delivers the election materials will have to return to the precinct. An election is not over until all election supplies, thumb drives, and voted ballots are in the possession of the Sheriff's Department. To our election workers, thank you so very much for your service to our county. Our democracy would not work without you, and it is an honor to be on the election team with you. We are advocates for voters as we all protect the fundamental right to vote. To our Jefferson County citizens, I can assure you that our elections are fair and will always be transparent, professional, and nonpartisan. Thank you.